That's right. It is indeed the day before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and we give thanks.
We do. We are very, very grateful for being here this evening with you at Unity Cafe. We come to you live on Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night.
At Unity Cafe, Unity Lincoln.
That's right. In the beautiful Bethany neighborhood of Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yes.
We're so glad that you've been able to join us,
Yes.
And here at Unity Lincoln, we have a mission, and let's share that mission together. We are a loving spiritual community, consciously choosing to recognize and demonstrate we are God in action. And our vision for the world is that we joyfully celebrate a loving world of peace, harmony, and abundance.
Yes.
And that's right. And I'm Reverend Evan Coleman. This is Reverend Toni Stevens Coleman.
Good to see you all this evening.
And we welcome you in the name of all that is good, all that is love, all that is sacred, and all that is holy. We receive everybody in the name of acceptance, joy, and peace. Let's begin with prayer. Toni, would you lead us? Would you lead us in prayer?
Dear ones, take an easy, gentle breath and relax into it as you let it go slowly. And just allow yourself to feel very, very present, right where you are as you are. Experience the now. If you can possibly shut off all the noise of the day, any residual thoughts, and just come into the now moment. Feel yourself at ease. Feel yourself releasing anything that stands between you and your peace of mind, you and the loving presence of God. Relax, let go. And now prepare to move into this time of awakening, of discovery, perhaps of ahas. And so as you move into your heart temple, know that God is present with you and for you, and God is your guide as you go on this journey. Another easy, gentle breath, and prepare to return to this time and this place. Return to the topic at hand, mindfulness, and discover your inner self. And now, as we become wholly present, share with me the words, thank you, God, 3 times. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. And so it is.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen, amen.
And namaste to you all.
Namaste, dear ones.
Welcome.
God bless you all. And as you mentioned in our opening prayer, we have been practicing and studying mindfulness for the last several weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And we've learned several things. We've discovered the benefits of mindfulness, how we can actually change the chemistry of our brains and even the DNA of our cells through a practice of mindfulness and meditation. Mm-hmm. That we learn how to be more fully present in this moment. We learn how to enjoy life, find life richer, sweeter, more satisfying, a richer experience of life and living. This is the modern term for it, of course, is mindfulness. But we've been
old.
It's an old practice. We've been calling it self-awareness. Unity. Unity has been practicing self-awareness for the 135, 140 years it's been in existence, but it's even older than that. And with mindfulness, mindfulness is a newer word that has come out of the human potential movement out of Berkeley, and we've gotten a great deal more science involved in this practice in the last several years.
Yes, that's a blessing. And yes, unity ministers and those who go through any training at Unity, CEP, it used to be called lay person education, it always includes self-awareness. That's always a huge segment of your training.
When you would study a topic, and it can be a topic on just about anything. We could have been studying metaphysical Bible interpretation. We could have been studying historical or metaphysics, or just about any of the other areas of study. There was always an opportunity for self-reflection.
Right.
You remember those papers? You had to write so many self-reflection papers in school.
Yes, well, and that's good. A lot of people journal and discover more about themselves and their reactions, responses, and evolution of their thinking and being through journaling or through meditation, through other practices like that mindfulness encourages.
And last week we used the Enneagram HEAL, HEAL, to take us through a process of learning mindfulness. And we remember that we used the general phrase, mindfulness is to see rightly so that we can respond effectively.
What a good idea.
Yeah, so that instead of just a knee-jerk reaction to the circumstances that surround us, we are actually able to think about our response to whatever life presents us, whatever life sends to us.
And I think this is very timely because, there's been a lot of build-up to Thanksgiving. There always is. But it has been finding ways to cope in spite of, instead of doing what we always do for Thanksgiving. And that's been difficult, very difficult for some people. Some people have truly been grieving the fact that they can't see their families close up, that they can't do things the way they always do, that there's not going to be 20 people around the table and all the food and everything, and that
if they don't have the traditional Thanksgiving experience that they've been having all of their lives, that somehow they feel disappointed, that they feel like it's not really Thanksgiving.
And it's valid. Those feelings are all valid. But the thing is to be aware of that and be aware that you may be a little sad, and that is why. Maybe someone whom you love and would like to have had with you this Thanksgiving has passed. Somebody is experiencing these almost 200,000 victims of the coronavirus. And we've been blessed here in our little community, but right here in Lincoln, there are a number of people who aren't going to be around the table this year.
That's right.
And so we grieve, and we have to truly experience our feelings and own them.
And that is, that's a big part of it. Is again, mindfulness. The practice of mindfulness helps us to respond to life and its situations, to the circumstances that we find ourselves in. Life happens, And there is no such thing. To experience life is to experience the bad with the good. Mindfulness helps us to focus our attention on those positive experiences of life and to sweeten them, to make them more accessible, and to help us to deal with the less positive things in our
Right,
life.
to recognize in a positive way our losses, our
Grieving.
grieving. And it can be grieving not having a job. It can be, we grieve. The body wears grief under your skin. And the first step to dealing with grief is simply to acknowledge it, to recognize that is what you're feeling and it's perfectly normal. And then,
A lot of loss, a lot of grief has to deal with circumstances or a situation or an event that tends to change our identity or who we think we are. And if
well, yes, it really can change your identity.
It
If
really
you've
can.
lost a child or a spouse,
If
your
you've lost
whole
a-
identity
if
is
you've lost a job,
Yeah.
that changes the
Who you are.
who you are, or at least the role that you play. And of course, in unity, we know that we are always the Christ. Who I think I am at any given moment is a more of a personality, where your true identity is the Christ presence within you.
But then the first thing is you have to stop and pay attention
That's right.
and ask yourself, who is actually experiencing this and what am I actually experiencing?
That's right.
Yeah. So,
So we use the anagram heal, and this is a way in which we can have a beneficial experience in meditation or just a beautiful moment, sometimes something that feeds our soul. And it's important that we have those beneficial experiences.
we called it a warm fuzzy.
That's right. Warm, fuzzy experiences. And if we don't have the experience naturally, we can create that warm, fuzzy experience. We can create a gratitude list, a great Thanksgiving exercise.
Right. Remember your experience with a beloved pet and enjoy that. Recall it, bring it back. The warm, friendly experiences.
I am so grateful for this young lady right here.
I'm so grateful for you, sweetheart. That was a
And I'm grateful for my experiences here at Unity Lincoln. It really has been a joy and a blessing being a part of this community and being a leader and a minister here, and just all of the experiences we've come so far here at Unity Lincoln. We've changed locations, we've changed properties, and we've seen our congregation grow and flourish.
wonderful group of people, all unique, amazing individuals.
That's right.
Unity is a whole community of very unique people.
And when
Seekers.
COVID-19 shut us down from having in-person church, I was very, very grateful that I'm kind of a techno nerd and was able to get us live streaming in relatively short order. Although that was a bit of a learning curve.
Yeah, still is.
It still is sometimes.
And so we have H, which is to have a beneficial experience. And then we have E, which is to enrich the beneficial experience, to make it important, to acknowledge it, and then to work with it so that it's useful for you, to sustain it, so you keep it.
To intensify it, to turn up the volume of it.
Right.
Be grateful for it. And the more that we can interact with it, the more senses that we can bring when we can see it and touch it and taste it and hear it and smell it. When we experience that good experience, that beneficial experience in a number of different ways. It turns up the volume. It intensifies it.
Right. And why do we want to do this? Because then we can use it to support our healing. We can use it as we absorb the experience and bring it into our very being. We can access it.
It becomes a part of us.
And right. And we can visualize ourselves being filled by it. And
it becomes a part of us. It becomes an inner resource, something that we can call up in a possibly a stressful moment or so.
right. When we need it, it's there. It's ready to go.
That's right. And that brings us to the last of this anagram.
H-E-A-L.
H-E-A-L. So L is link. When the stuff hits the fan, when
Life happens.
When life happens, we can link a negative experience. We can link an experience that perhaps makes us sad, or where we are experiencing loneliness or loss or grief.
Where we're stymied.
Something that is just a feeling, a thought, a repetitive thought that is bringing us down. We can link that to a positive experience, and we can transform it. We can change the way in which we think and feel about our less positive experiences. And we can...
The less positive experience can become more of a stepping stone. We can switch it around so that it can become a useful experience for us.
We can remind ourselves of beneficial, positive experiences. And the best way I can explain this is, remember, I got through that. I can get through this.
And you know, the ancient Israelites, they used this same technique. This is, I don't know if they were aware of it, but certainly the prophets were.
Yeah, the 6th century prophets.
Isaiah said things like,
you always got to remember, God got you out of Egypt, God will get you through this.
And that is a very valuable thing to know, to remember. This is a tool that we have available to us at all times. And it's a valuable thing to learn about and to use as a resource.
Yeah. Okay, and tonight we're learning a little bit more about some principles of well-being, about how to more fully experience life, how to transform the way in which we see life, and how we deal with the less positive experience, the negative experience, the loss, the grief, anything that at least on the surface doesn't look good to us or good for us. Mindfulness helps us prepare for when things don't necessarily go our way.
For years, for me, one of the truths that I lived with was to have a plan for holidays, for special anniversaries, for special occasions. It was to have a plan, something that would feed my soul, that would help me focus on the good. And I, in certain situations, I actually designed little rituals for myself that would help me get through the day in a positive way. And they really supported my being able to stay healthy and to stay positive. And so, have a plan.
Have a plan.
Have a plan. I don't mean you have to book out every part of your day. I'm not talking about something psychotic here. I'm talking about simply think ahead. What is your plan? What are you going to do? to acknowledge and recognize whatever it is that happened, whatever the anniversary is, the person who's lost, or the major change that you had in your life, that you need to acknowledge it in some way. And by ritual, I mean it can be as simple a thing as mentally taking a rose and pulling the petals off, being grateful for someone who's lost, and then releasing those petals mentally into the space. It can be something symbolic like that. And for years, that kind of little ritual supported my being healthy and getting through days when I knew someone was missing. Yeah.
And remember that there is no such thing as a human life that is completely absent of pain, of loss. But pain and loss are unavoidable.
Those are our growing edges.
That's right. But suffering is optional. Suffering is optional. We do not have to suffer. We've talked about this in weeks past, that our resistance to pain and loss is the multiplier of our suffering. So we can have a painful experience that's maybe a 2 on the pain scale, but if we bring 50 to the resistance portion of the equation, well, 2 times 50, and all of a sudden you've got 100 suffering points.
Right.
But if your resistance is 0, you have pain of 2 times 0 equals 0. No suffering.
Well, and using this technique, you can actually turn it into a positive experience, a time of honoring and remembering and gathering the wisdom from whatever the experience is, discovering how that affected you in positive ways. Because all changes, once we've evolved through them, we can find something positive about it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it's sometimes, in some situations it might take days or weeks or possibly even years, but eventually we can find good in every experience. And that is that God got me out of this one. God got me through this. I managed to get through this experience. God can get me through this too. The difference, I like to think, it's the difference between reacting and responding. Reacting implies something automatic. It's like, the doctor hits your knee with a little hammer, and it's the knee-jerk reaction. That is where most of us live most of the time, because we're just on autopilot. We are just plain on autopilot. But when we practice mindfulness, when we bring these inner resources to bear on our situation, and remember, mindfulness, the definition that we are using is to see clearly so that we can respond effectively. So instead of that knee-jerk reaction, we can bring the tools that we're learning in mindfulness so that we can respond to the life situation or circumstances that we're facing. It's a much more practical way to live. It is a much more wonderful way to live.
Yes.
I've brought 5 principles of mental health and well-being, and most of this is from the book Don't Sweat the Small Stuff by Richard Carlson. And
from a few years ago.
Yeah, but there was actually several books on this theme.
Yes.
But he was very, very good. And the first principle of this concept is thinking. And I like to think thinking is as automatic as breathing. Thinking is as automatic as breathing. Now, most of us don't think about our breathing until we start to think about our breathing.
Right.
Breathing is one of those activities that it can be completely automatic, or it can be self-controlled. If you simply don't think about breathing, you still continue to breathe. And you may not ever think about breathing until all of a sudden now I'm thinking about my breathing, especially during times of meditation. We will even be taught to focus on the breath, to watch the breath come in and go out. So breathing can be either automatic or can be self-initiated or very observed.
Very conscious.
Thinking is exactly the same way. We are thinking all the time, and most of it is automatic. We don't think about our thinking. Now, we have from 60 to 80,000 thoughts every single day. Think about that one.
Yeah.
60,
I believe it.
60 to 80,000 thoughts every single day. And most of those thoughts, and this is another key aspect of thinking, most of those 60 to 80,000 thoughts are repetitive.
Yep. Where you think the same thing. You squirrel cage.
When I first realized that, when I first read that, I thought, thank God I'm not the only one. I thought I was the only one that had repetitive thoughts. No, absolutely everybody. Absolutely everybody has repetitive thoughts. They are on autopilot.
It's normal.
We don't think about them until we stop and think about them.
Right.
And that is one of the goals of mindfulness, to just be aware of what is going through our what's going on between your ears at any given moment.
So you might set yourself a little challenge and think about what you're thinking about.
That's it.
That's an interesting exercise to do.
Stop yourself several times a day, and catch yourself in those repetitive thoughts. Catch yourself in those repetitive thoughts and just become aware of them. Mm-hmm. That's the first step.
That's a big step. Yep.
One of the key ways in which I become aware of my thoughts, and I think this is incredibly valuable for everyone, the way in which I become aware of repetitive thoughts is to pay attention to what comes out of my mouth. What comes out of the mouth comes from the heart. That's what Jesus said. What comes out of the mouth comes from this subconscious mind. It comes from this already always thinking mind that we have. But we can choose to think differently. Our thoughts can become, just like breathing, we can become actually aware of our thoughts, and we can learn to control is a little bit too firm a word. But when we become aware of them, we can quiet them. We can still them. They become less aggressive.
More useful.
More useful, more practical, more helpful.
We all have moods. And this is something to be very aware of, especially this week and as we go into the holidays. Whoa, excuse me.
We were just commenting before we came on.
It's so dark out.
That's right.
6 o'clock and it's pitch black out.
And
yeah.
But our moods, I think our moods reflect the current state of our consciousness. Consciousness is a nice unity word. Mm-hmm. It's a nice unity word. Our consciousness is like an amalgamation of our thoughts, our feelings, our experiences. It is again sort of who we think we are at any given moment of time. and we can raise our. I used to think of enlightenment as an event that you become enlightened and then you are enlightened. But no, it's
a continuum.
It's a continuum. Exactly. And our moods are a continuum. We can have high moods, we can have exalted moods, we can have negative moods, we can have grouchy, irritable.
And they can be influenced by what's happening around you. They can be influenced by the foods you're eating, that Snickers bar. The conversations you have, the people that you are in contact with. I think moods can sometimes rub off on other people. So just to develop an awareness of that is really important. It's a valuable thing to do.
And again, to acknowledge that, hey, everybody's got moods. Everybody's got moods.
Not good, bad, or indifferent.
They just are.
Just simply is. That's
right.
the way we're wired.
However, when we become aware of our moods, when we practice mindfulness, we can cultivate a graceful disposition when our mood is low. We can recognize, I'm kind of, I've got sort of a low mood right now, but I can become graceful through that mood. I again build on those inner resources to make that mood less destructive to my life, to my world. And when our mood is high, when we are experiencing that elevation, that enlightenment, that wonderful I got the world on a string.
Sing it.
I got the world on a string, sitting on a rainbow. Got the ring around my finger.
That's Satchmo.
I don't know. That's a lot of singers sang that song.
Yeah.
Frank Sinatra and several others. But when your mood is elevated, when your mood is high, we can be grateful. So when our mood is low, we can be graceful, and when our mood is high, we can be grateful, and it helps us to cultivate this disposition even through our moods.
And then there are our feelings, and our feelings and our moods, I think, are very
They're
closely connected there. And feelings can be a barometer of our thinking.
You can frequently tell what you are thinking when you realize what you are feeling. I'm feeling sad or angry or lonely or whatever. And when you discover what you are feeling, then you can look at your thoughts and find out, well, I'm feeling this because I'm thinking that. Yes. Thoughts precede feelings. Feelings follow thoughts.
And this isn't about a value judgment, good, bad, or otherwise. This is about becoming aware, figuring out what's going on, why you're experiencing what you're experiencing, and then having the ability to adapt, to cope, to spin it in a positive way so that you and everyone around you are doing better.
And our next principle for mental health and well-being is your agreement with reality. Now, this is something
that's potent.
When I began to realize that and this was something several of my favorite authors have made me aware of this, but this book, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, he really did sort of lay this out, that we experience different realities. Your reality is not the same thing as my reality. What is the old phrase, perception makes reality? You know, that's very true in business. Your customers aren't served until they think they are served. You could do the best job in the world. You can do the very best job in the world, but until the customer is happy, they are not having a good day. You know, and a perception makes reality. If the customer doesn't perceive the benefit of your efforts and your hard work, then it is as if you didn't do it to them.
Wow. Isn't that powerful to be aware of? And so just in the place of thinking about your customer in business, think about this as your children around the Thanksgiving table. Think about this as your children, as you're trying to get them homeschooled, or your other family members as you're interacting with them. And yeah.
We see the world through the filter or the lens of our consciousness, of our thoughts, our feelings, our moods, and
it's influenced by all of your experiences, everything that's gone into making you who you are. Your childhood experiences, your young adult experiences, your adult experiences, all of it goes into.
It's based on our beliefs. And in school, we learned the phrase embedded theology. Do you remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
Embedded theology. That's the stuff that you believe that you didn't even know you believed.
Right. Those things that got in there that stuck, that you don't, they're not near enough the surface to be really aware of, but they influence everything you do.
That's right. They absolutely, they shift the lens. They shift that filter toward whatever it is that we happen to believe that we aren't even aware of.
And so the thing to be aware of is that you get to choose. Do you want to wear victim mentality, which is everybody else is doing this to me, why does this always happen to me, that kind of thinking? Or do you want to be the hero, the victor? You get to make those choices. Once you're aware, you can make that shift. Now, it's not always easy. Sometimes it's not easy at all. But you get to choose what your agreement is with reality. And you can adjust that. That's one of the reasons that I shared with you, have a plan. Because that is part of choosing. You consciously choose how you are going to cope with whatever the situation is.
You know, you mentioned being the victim of our circumstance. And that's how many people go through life. They see themselves as the victim of circumstance. Things happen to me, and they are bad things. Things happen to me. I am the victim of my circumstance. I remember sitting around the tables of a 12-step group and hearing phrases like, pour me another drink. Because we get into that, we loop. Poor, pitiful me. That's right.
Yep.
Or we can choose to become the hero over our circumstance, the victor of over our whatever life seems to throw at us, whatever our grief or our loss. We can use that experience to strengthen us, to elevate us. Again, I got through that. I can get through this.
And one of the keys to working this system is to live in the present moment.
Absolutely.
Is to not allow yourself to go back into the mud of your whatever experience, childhood experience, or the worst thing that ever happened to you. Don't let that define who you are today. Today, you have a fresh start. Every single day, you have a fresh start.
We can choose to see differently. And one of my favorite phrases, change your mind, you change your life. We can choose to change our agreement with reality. We can choose to be the victor rather than staying in victim consciousness.
Yeah, very important. Allow yourself to think from the very highest level of your awareness, that which is happening in your world.
In this now
in
moment.
this now moment, what is the highest thing that you can envision with it, can experience through it?
You know, when we live out of the past, we are usually talking about regrets.
Yeah,
Regrets of
unfortunately,
we're things I said, things I didn't say, things I wanted to do, things, or again, remembering or practically reliving a past traumatic expense.
And there are techniques
experience.
that, you know, especially if you are with a qualified counselor, someone who can guide you through that to make a shift, to make a change if it's a really challenging experience. But there's so much that you can do for yourself by learning that this is how we human beings work and how our minds function, and learning how to move on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, gather the rosebuds, gather the gems from your experiences and move on. Or as we've done quite a bit of work here at Unity Lincoln to be aware of the ability to rewrite our story.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I mean, I've heard people say, oh, well, that's lying. It's not lying. It's ancient history and in your life experience. And if it is holding you back, if it is causing you grief, if it isn't serving you, adjust it, because all you have is your perception.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're working with, and you can change your perception right now. You can adjust it, you can work with it, you can develop it into a positive tool.
That's right. So when we live out of the past, we are robbing ourselves of the present. But the other thing that robs us of the present is worry or concern about the future. And I've had conversations about this very topic, about living in the moment, and people just are so unused to unaccustomed. Thank you for that word. We are so unaccustomed to living in the present moment that we will squirrel cage between the past and the future, the past and the future, the past and the future, and we never take a look at what we are doing right here, right now, in this present moment. And that includes our thinking, our feelings, our moods. What is it that is going on right here, right now? And you know, quite naturally, when we are best at living in this moment, sex.
Oh, that's what I heard. Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
When, there are other times too, things like when we are possibly in a threatened environment.
Right, when we have all the adrenaline flowing and all of those rescue
if you've ever experienced like a car crash or something like that, where it seems that time slows down,
right,
and you are able to experience the moment-to-moment detail. Oh, this happened, then this happened, then this happened, then this happened. It is as if time slows down just for you, and we become hyper aware of this now moment. And spiritual experiences are like that. Spiritual peaks of spiritual experiences. In times of deep meditation, we become aware of this now moment, and the past and the future just are not important.
And that is, you can make that a touchstone for yourself. What's a touchstone?
Ah, I love that. Well,
I love it, too.
the history of the touchstone was if you wanted to trade your gold. This was before coinage was standardized. If you bring your piece
You
of
had a special piece of stone.
you had a piece of
soft.
stone, and it was black. It was a river flattened, and you would rub your gold, your piece of gold, on a touchstone to tell you what the quality of the gold was. Was it pure gold? Was it mixed with something that you didn't want? You could tell with the touchstone the quality of your gold.
And so when I say touchstone, you can use your experience, your refined experience, to test what's happening in your life right here and now. You can use that now moment. And so it's really important when you're thinking in the past or the future to realize that you are not being effective.
Living in this present moment, living in mindfulness, helps us, enables us to respond effectively to all kinds of life's challenges.
Right. So we've talked about thoughts, our thinking. We've talked about our moods, being aware. Our feelings, very important. Don't dismiss your feelings. And our agreement with reality. And then living in the present moment. And so think of these things and consider these things as you go into this holiday season, that all of these are things that are going to be uniquely affected this year, in this year of challenges, and yet we can develop the skills and the abilities, the tools to be able to cope at a high level, to be the healthy person in the space, in the room. And you have something for us.
Well, one of our principles this evening was thoughts.
Yep.
And one of the important things to
space?
No. You cuddle up here. And this is by Sue K. Riley, and this is about thinking, because I am the thinker. I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts. I have the power to change my life. I have the power to change my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts. I have the power to change my life. I have the power to change my life. And if you ask me who am I am wisdom, I am light. I'm so much more than meets the eye. I cannot be defined. I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts. I have the power to change my life. I have the power to change my life. And if you ask me what am I am beauty, I am joy. I'm so much more than meets the eye. I cannot be defined. I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts. I have the power to change my life. I have the power to change my life. I can choose to be the light that brightens someone's darkest night. I'm so much more than meets the eye. I cannot be defined. I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts. I have the power to change my life. I have the power to change my life. I have the power to change my life.
Amen to that.
Amen, amen, amen.
Yes.
And you
Hope
know,
you like that.
yeah, again,
Yeah.
that's Sue K. Riley. She's
Yeah.
she's one of our favorite people. And let us prepare for our offering, and let's share our offering blessing together. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am joy-filled and grateful. Thank you, God. And you can send your tithes and offerings to paypal.me/UnityLincoln. And that is paypal.me/UnityLincoln. Or if you're already on PayPal, you can send it directly to office@unitylincoln.org. You can also send it the old-fashioned way, either via the mail or via bank transfer to Unity Lincoln, P.O. Box 30209, Lincoln, Nebraska 68503. You can go to our website at unitylincoln.org and find a convenient link to donate via PayPal. You can also support Unity Lincoln by signing up for the Amazon Smile program so that every purchase that you make on Amazon.com supports Unity Lincoln. And please remember to like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, give us that thumbs up, leave a comment in the comments section. If you have a question, we can get back to you.
And thank you so much for you who have been gifting us all along. We are entirely supported by gifts and donations, and it is amazing. We are so grateful to you for all of your support. So, thank you.
That's right.
Thank you.
And as a matter of fact,
Give and God gives it back to you.
Give and God gives it back to you. Give and God gives it back to you. Pressed down, shaken together, running over. Back in good measure, God gives it back to you. Sing it over, give and God gives it back to you. Give and God gives it back to you. Give and God gives it back to you. Pressed down, shaken together, running over. Back in good measure, God gives it back to you. And let us share this affirmation for our church family. Together, Unity Lincoln is blessed to draw the people, funds, and all that is required for the health and growth of our community and peace in the world, heart to heart. And we have several activities here.
Yeah.
Remember that every single Sunday morning you can join us for our Sunday Worthship service. Our Worthship. That's live streamed on Facebook and on YouTube. Please, please, please join us and join me every Sunday morning for Metaphysics. I am here at 9 o'clock every Sunday morning, also live streamed on YouTube and Facebook. Metaphysics is probably what other people would call philosophy or theology. Mm-hmm. And we try to have some fun.
Very interesting process. It's a process that you can learn.
It really is. Mm-hmm. It really is. And let's see.
Tomorrow we
Oh.
have Thanksgiving together as a community at 1 o'clock. We have sent out the Zoom information numbers. If you would like to join us, we're going to invite people to bring songs and poems and readings to share, or whatever, a piece of artwork, a dance, whatever you can do on Zoom. And then if you would like, we can eat together also, because there's not going to be anybody supervising the meal. We got our chicken. We're going to have a piece of chicken and a few cranberries and green beans and
Send, if you would like to join us via Zoom for our Thanksgiving gathering, you can email us at office@unitylincoln.org.
Don't wait until noon, because I'm going to be in the kitchen cooking. Do it soon. Either send an email or call the church phone number, and I will get it and get back to you. Probably the email would be the easiest, because then you get the link.
That's right. That's right. We will be happy to email you the link so that you can join us via Zoom. And
I think that's, let me mention also that we do have a silent unity prayer service that's Sunday afternoon after the service. It starts around noon, and our church chaplains are very busily engaged, of course, at this time. We have quite a group of chaplains.
And they also meet via Zoom these days.
And so, again, you are invited to contact us. And what they do on Sundays is Silent Unity has a service that is repetitive per month that is shared. And so we share in that same service every Sunday.
That's right. And let's close with our prayer for protection. Together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
God bless you, dear ones.
God bless
We are
you.
so grateful for you. You are important to us.
You are. We appreciate you.
Unless we see you tomorrow, until next week, we'll see you then.
God bless everybody.
God bless